after frame was received on the other side, you will process it, and after a short time, you will send an acknowledgement back. This is rather simple, I think. The actual time you are in the contention phase is a random number between two parameters. This is not really interesting at the moment, but we will later see if this phase can be optimized. At the end of every successful transmission, you have another contention, so that the station who accessed the channel this time won't send immediately the next frame, but will wait a random time and let other people try to access the channel. In 800.11e, then is another idea. It's quite unoptimal to send only one frame. There's the possibility of frame bursting. It's basically sending multiple frames back on back, just separated by a short interframe space. And so you will have only one time the contention, and if the station gets the channel, it can send 5 or 10 or 20 packets. This will increase the throughput, as we will see shortly, significantly, but it will also increase the delay because it takes longer time for the other stations to access the channel again. This method, or the duration and single station can access in this channel, is called the TX opportunity. It's a specific amount of time which is normally defined in the access point and sent to the clients so that they know how long they can actually access the channel. Okay. There's also a new method on acknowledgement, on sending acknowledgements. And the normal access method, you had to send an acknowledgement for every frame, but now you can combine several frames and send one block acknowledgement. This will save a lot of time and will also increase throughput and decrease the delay. Okay, it looks quite difficult, but the main details you should see. 800.11e defines 4 priority queues. It's mainly for different kinds of traffic. You have the background traffic, best effort, video, and voice. And all parameters of the 800.11 medium access code can be controlled within these different queues. So you can differentiate the video, give them a high priority over best effort traffic and so on. The main parameters of interest is the interframe space at the beginning.
So we're going to talk about what FileVault is, and we're going to talk about problems that other people found and that we found with FileVault.
Yeah, it's the interframe space at the beginning. As you can see here, voice and video are perhaps have the same access delay at the beginning. The best effort will wait some time longer, and background traffic will wait a rather long time. Even the contention phase, the minima and maxima of your random numbers can be controlled so that voice has quite a small random number, and background traffic, there's a really big random number. And perhaps it's also interesting, there is the possibility to tag a class to send no acknowledgements. This could be nice for some people, but most of the time this won't give you really throughput increase, because there are lot of errors on a Wi-Fi link, and you probably want to have a fast acknowledgement and fast retransmit mechanism. So, as I told you, the interframe space influences mainly the access delay before sending a VLAN frame. It should be clear, this is very easy to optimize, just make it smaller. The CVMin influences the collision probability when the number is very small. There's a high probability that different stations will choose the same random number, and if it's very high, it's not so probably that there will be a collision. But when the number is very high, the delay to access the channel will increase. This is okay, somewhere an optimization problem. What is the best range for your random number? There is a CV max. This is a detail of the medium access code. You won't, with every retransmission, you will increase the size and the range of your random numbers. This is really useful in a hotspot scenario, but it's not really useful on a point-to-point or mesh network. So you can just set the CV max to the CV min value and live with this. Sorry. And the TX op limit is also a candidate for optimization. When you are able to send more packets back on back, you will probably increase the throughput, but also increase the delay. And so there is probably some good value between the min and the max value, so that you can live with the delay and also can live with the throughput. In the new standard 800.11n, there is another solution. It's called the frame aggregation. It's quite the same like frame bursting, just it removes the interframe space to very short MPDU delimiters, and the possibilities to aggregate different kind of frames are much better. But it's not really something really interesting. Yes, this will increase the throughput really dramatically because there is no waiting time, and on long-range links, this interframe space won't be increased. So it's, as we'll see shortly, it's really a nice standard. And as you might know already, on long-range links, you have to change a few parameters to make this work. It's more or less a time slot for waiting or the interframe spaces and the acknowledgement timeout. But this is really easy to do and should be possible with, I think, every VLAN chipset. So more interesting, some graphs. If you have a normal old access method, yes, you won't have the, down here, this is for 800.11a or G. It's not really quite interesting. It's slow if you use, at this point, frame bursting. You will see when you send 2 frames back on back or 10 frames back on back, the throughput will increase, but soon there will be some kind of saturation. So it doesn't make any sense to send 30 packets back on back. It just will increase the delay, but the increase and the improvement of throughput won't be really noticeable. On 800.11n, we also see the medium will, or the standard says, this is a 150 megabit channel, but you will see you're probably by 47 megabit on a single channel using one stream or without the MIMO. This is, quite frustrating. You buy a new standard, they will tell you, hey, even this, without MIMO, you will have 150 megabits, but it's not really a difference between the old and the new standard. But if you now use frame bursting, frame aggregation, and so on, you will see the throughput will increase really dramatically. If you see here, perhaps at 10 packets back on back, it's a really dramatic difference between this 47 and something, I think about 100 megabit. So even when you send really a lot of packets, perhaps let's take 25 or so, compared to 30, you will also see an increase in throughput. It's you have to decide what you want at this point. Another graph, when you see the distance, you want to have your point-to-point link, and the throughput. The throughput will also decrease with the distance, and this is because the optimizations you do with the acknowledgement timeout and the interframe space, the throughput will decrease very fast. The different colors I will explain later. But using these frame aggregation technologies, you will see the throughput will stay much more stable, even on long-range links. And so it would be perhaps a good idea to use all this and build a nice, cool point-to-point link. When you do simulations, yes, it will be quite interesting to look at the distribution of delay between two packets. As I told you, two stations who want to access the channel just choose a random number, and who got the smaller number will immediately access the channel. This sounds really easy. But actually, if you implement this and do some simulations, it's very interesting when this is the time and this is the probability when there is a channel access. The delay spread is really quite complicated. You won't really be able to say when there's a high probability that a packet will be transmitted. This, as we will see later, will have an enormous impact on a lot of protocols who are using a smooth round-trip time. And the round-trip time will be influenced by the delay of the packet and the channel access. And when you have such a curve, which will represent for a special channel here, 54 megabit channel, the delay spread, and you will just use the median or something else to get a value. Perhaps, I think the median would be about here. And even you use a smoothed round-trip time, you may imagine this value won't be very accurate. And this will influence the measurements. And perhaps someone in the audience might know where a smooth round-trip time measurement will be used. At least it will be used in the congestion avoidance algorithm of TCP. So the round-trip time of TCP is actually not really a great number, and this will have impact on the throughput. So, any questions on the standard stuff till here? Anything?
Okay, one question is, when you use frame aggregation, the transmission time becomes longer and the chance that one frame gets corrupted gets higher. So the longer the frames are and the higher the throughput is theoretically, the more rises the chance that the frames got corrupted. So what about retransmission? Do you have some selectable retransmission that you only have to retransmit one part of the whole aggregated frame, or how do you cope with this problem?